It's not too hot in your bed.
You can leave your head on.
Naked.
Are we good to go?
I think so. Hopefully, just tell me if the noise comes back. I'll try and...
Give me a second.
I'm having his own party over there.
You didn't have to pick a song for that thing and the intro.
I think we're live again.
Yeah.
Hooray.
We're live, pal. Okay. We can start, I think. Nope, there's a lot of white noise again.
White noise! The Celtic warrior with the white noise! Can you believe it, Anna?
Turn the fan off, just sweat.
I'll try and move it. I won't be a second.
Big sweat, sweat technical clicks.
I've actually clicked on some mishaps from WWE Top 10, and Liam Garcia once called Zack Ryder the long eyed Jack Swagger. Noise! Can you believe it?
Turn the fan off, just
You only have half the brain that I have. You can leave your head on. At least people had an thing with bricks. I can't think that.
What? Can you say that again?
Released talents had a theme song that had lyrics, so can't sing that one.
And you can.
Fortunately, we have California Sun by Curvis, man.
you should. I'm still got it.
Wake up, to the sunshine, wanna be a perfect day. For the sky.
Oh no, we're gonna get copyrighted because of Dan's amazing singing.
Because he's
Is
so
that
unrecognizably bad.
Is that noticeably better?
Yes.
Yes.
The 90 degrees.
There's
nothing like California sun. From the breaks of dawn till the day is done. There's nothing like California sun.
I tried to look earlier on the
Nothing like California
that
sun.
song with gas blocked, but there was nothing about it.
There's nothing like California sun.
Upload a video of it in unlisted. Just to see if it allows us to use it.
Patreon special.
Strike, they're putting it in every video.
It's been 10 minutes and I already missed Jed. I mean, yeah. Okay, are we good? Oh my god.
noise is back, and it's louder than ever before.
Liam's also frozen in place. Oh, he's moving. Okay.
No, that was just because I was fast too.
I was like, what happened?
I don't know what it can be. It can't be my computer because it's not loud enough. But
And it's better.
It's not me.
Gone. Liam. Gone.
is that better?
Yes.
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 Oh,
Okay. I think we're good to start now.
Wow.
Glorious.
That's incredible. That's so much audio quality. I can't believe it.
Crystal clear.
Cool.
Let's go.
Let's go? Okay.
Let's go. Let's go.
Oh. Da, 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 da.
For life, pals, I think.
Oh my god. Why is it back?
The stream itself is just the thumbnail on the screen.
Yes.
Oh, that's lovely.
Just
From what-
Ty, the big dog.
Just wait
And
for
yeah,
it.
The big dog's coming.
I think it should change eventually. I switched the things.
one day.
You working here?
But why is the white noise back now?
It's not. Yeah, we're just at the part where I scream "Let's go" and start singing, so it should be live soon. Hey, look, it changed.
There we go. Yeah, I can see it now.
Yay, okay.
Right.
There's nothing like California sun.
Yes, from break of dawn to the
day
day.
is done.
There's nothing like
Like
California sun. You didn't go and get a selfie with him, and I'm so mad at you. You're lucky I'm even speaking to you right now. I'm so mad.
Why are you so mad?
You could have got a selfie with him, and you chose not to.
Well, I think that the party is today, right now.
Oh,
Ah.
I need to switch this.
Why are you here then? I would totally understand if you didn't want to come.
If you were real, that's not a good enough excuse. But if it was to get a selfie with Kofi, that's fully acceptable.
Hmm. I'm currently trying to find out when this party is happening.
If it's on, it has to go.
So who is coming around? And it was yesterday. What a shame.
Damn. Back at it with the white band.
He will come back eventually.
Right. Did it, so theoretically
Should come. Okay.
we can begin.
Let's go.
White
We are
one.
live. Monday Night Raw.
Wait, can we start over?
No.
Oh.
I love how.
Oh,
We can start over.
And here comes the Shockmaster.
Ethan is
Right.
fucking up. Oops, I mean, flipping
Oh,
bum.
bloody hell. He's done it now.
wait, what?
2 minutes in.
What just happened?
Dun-dun,
Oh.
dun-dun, 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 dun-dun. Here comes the big dog.
And then, woo!
Oh, that's going to be the worst part of Monday. I didn't think about
Yeah, Roman
The
Reigns.
big dog. I was like, oh, Roman's back. That's good.
I forgot Ric
Anyway.
Flair's birthday thing was on Monday because Roman.
I didn't because Dan's here.
We've not been
3
able to.
hours full of woo and jet flying, wooing dealing, get stealing.
Ric Flair should pin Brock Lesnar in the main event of Monday Night Raw.
Don't say that.
Absolutely, I agree. I like this guy. I
That'd
like
be
him.
amazing. He makes.
It's
Lesnar
gone off
tap.
time, pal. We're no longer live, pal.
Wait, what?
What?
Oh,
Back, pal.
lame. No, it's back.
Only thing that would make Raw better at this point would be Charlotte Flair.
No.
I mean,
I just need connection.
Charlotte Flair.
She's a pro anyway.
yeah, I thought about this. I'm on crappy college Wi-Fi, so like,
You
Could be.
know.
there's gonna be issues.
We're live, pal.
Yeah.
Right.
Charlotte.
Anyway, let's begin.
Yes,
Hello and welcome.
I'm on mobile data, so
Yeah.
there's nothing like California.
Guys,
Oh.
Liam wants to do the intro. Let him
Okay.
do it.
Okay.
Hello and welcome to the February 23rd edition of WrestleVision Live. And if you think it's been a little bit of an interesting start, well, Jan's not here this week. We're joined by Amadou instead, who's very kindly set up all the technological side of things. Dan's here as well, celebrating Ric Flair's birthday on Monday, which
Yay.
I'm sure he's going to be very excited about. And also Connel, who has a new microphone that might be slightly better than his new one. Oh, his old one.
We'll see. There's nothing like California.
California sun.
Anyway,
Right,
Anyway?
our leading story.
Oh, what the
As you
hell?
may have been- Oh, well, what's happened?
Liam got big all of a sudden.
Oh,
that happened.
It's going.
well, hey.
Oh.
That happens from time to time. That's completely normal for a man of his age.
I can't help it.
This is what happens when you eat Pringles and makes KFC McDonald's 3 days in a row.
Dan also got big all of a sudden.
Vegan sausage roll review from Liam on the channel, I am.
Okay.
Right, our leading story this week, as you may have been able to tell, is that Roman Reigns, former Universal Champion, is returning on Monday. His last appearance was on October 23rd, I think, which was quite literally 4 months ago to the day, when he announced that he had been diagnosed with leukemia, had to relinquish his Universal Championship, and took time away. Reports came out yesterday from the Daily Star that Vince had demanded a return for Roman Reigns as part of his AEW breakdown. And at the time, and quite rightfully as well, everyone sort of went, well, that's a load of rubbish, it's just a tabloid making up a bollocks story. But then a few hours later, Vince McMahon tweeted out that Reigns was going to be on Raw. So, it's a possibility he will be returning to the ring soon. We're not saying he's going to be returning to the ring soon, but a few of the signs are there. I think it all comes down to what he's going to say on Monday and what's going to happen.
The one trainer guy said he was preparing for an in-ring return. But I think that could be a case of he's going to be on TV. He hasn't been active for 4 months. He needs to get back in shape, so he's doing it to try and get back on TV. So he'll stay active on TV heading into Mania, with Seth or whatever. But he's not going to be, and he'll be paying for the in-ring return in terms of looking presentable on TV, so he can keep up that big dog image. But I don't think he'll be wrestling it anytime soon.
I mean, the Daily Star report said the planned match for WrestleMania. Again, we're not saying we believe this story at the minute, but the planned match for WrestleMania is a 6-man tag team match. Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and Braun Strowman against Corbin, Lashley, and McIntyre, which one sounds absolutely dreadful, and two doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
So it would be exactly what they would do, right? That sounds like a plan.
What happened to Kurt Angle in this whole feud? Because he was the one feuding with Corbin and all them. He's suddenly been replaced by Dean, who's shown no signs of doing absolutely anything with these guys.
He's been replaced by Dean, who's leaving in the same month as WrestleMania.
But what I can see happening is Roman Reigns actually being in Seth Rollins' corner at WrestleMania. That would be something I would like to see, actually.
That would be a Shield fist
man punch sort of thing.
And or there'll be one last Shield fist pump.
Yes. Big dog.
Big dog, etc. I think, I don't know, we said about Dean, I think that's quite interesting because the whole thing he did, I can't remember if it was the last draw or the one before, where he came out after Seth's win and did the promo, but he went off script and he was meant to say there. Yeah, he was meant to say there stuff about Roman, about Roman's recovery and Lesnar and stuff like that, but he decided not to. So it's weird. Don't know. It's hard to tell what direction they're going in with Ambrose and where Reigns comes into that. I mean, for all intents and purposes, this thing coming up on Raw could literally just be, thanks for all your well wishes, I'm doing fine, and then he leaves again. It could just be one of them, but
I don't know. I can't decide if this puts for or against either side, but he's doing media right after as well.
Oh
yeah, he's doing Good Morning America on the Tuesday, the morning after. Yeah.
And maybe he just wants to wish Ric Flair a happy birthday.
I'm just wish Ric Flair happy birthday.
I don't think there's really much else to say. Obviously, we all hope that whatever Roman says is good news. The way it seems to be going quite positively. In terms, if you look at social media and everything, there doesn't seem to be any worry from anyone. And I also think that if it was sort of negative news, they wouldn't big up his return like this. He'd just sort of turn up or do a promo or something like that. It would be announced. A statement or something like that.
I thought. Just put a statement out on the website or something.
Yeah.
One thing before we do move on, I don't even want to really spend more time on than I want to, but all these people that are going to assume that they made up that he had the illness, just shut up.
Yes.
Basically, I've seen a fair bit of that on Twitter today, so put that on.
Yep. I mean, I think we can move on, unless anyone has anything else to add. It's big news, but there's not really much to say about it at this point. The bigger news coming out of it will be after it happens.
I'm fine with Roman coming back as long as A, he isn't put in the Universal title match, and B, he doesn't interfere in the Universal title match.
And he might not be so lucky there.
Oh my god.
But I think that happens if he's cleared or not.
I mean, yeah. But, like, I want Seth to beat Brock clean, decisively. I don't want, like, any Shield shenanigans.
Now it's going to be a dirty win, and they're going to say that Seth only won because of Roman. They're going to have a rematch, and Brock's going to get the belt back.
No, stop joking about that, because they could do that.
And they will.
A conversation when Roman's return was announced. Daniel Bryan's WWE Championship opponent for WrestleMania. We'll get into it in more depth at the minute, but the initial reports were just that it was going to be someone returning. Could we see a babyface Roman Reigns against a heel Daniel Bryan? for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. That would be Vince's ultimate victory.
Yes.
I don't think they want on SmackDown.
It's
I don't
basically
think they do
booked. Didn't even think of that. It's booked.
They want him on Raw.
I don't think they'd do it, but if it did, absolute meltdown on Twitter. It'd be hilarious.
Oh, I love the Twitter. I love them and hate them at the same time. It's so entertaining to watch.
Wrestling Twitter fans, WWE Facebook commenters.
The best. Alistair Black is totally a rip-off CM Punk. Anyway,
Yeah, I think we can move on. More pretty big news is that WWE released three guys yesterday in quick succession. The first one we'll go through because it was already pretty much known is Hideo Itami. That was reported a couple of weeks ago, so we already knew the news, but they hadn't announced it.
Want to hear our thoughts on that? Go through the archive and listen to like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, do that. But yeah, Itami's release was a mutual agreement between him and WWE. Itami wasn't happy creatively, and WWE weren't happy with Itami. They felt like he wasn't living up to his name, which you could argue is their fault, but it was a mutual sort of agreement that he could leave. Ty Dillinger was the first one that was announced, and earlier in the day, WWE were actually still battling with Dillinger to kind of try to convince him to stay, but he just sort of held. Exactly, he held firm, and eventually he did get his release. What's interesting about Dillinger, I think, is that he got his release, but the Connellises didn't. I don't really see why. Maybe maybe it's because the Connellises sort of joined on bad terms, because the rumours of Mike rejected NXT, and he sort of came in acting like he was already some sort of big star. That might have rubbed him the wrong way at the start.
Or maybe Maria's telling the truth and we're all losers for believing opposite.
Oh, obviously, yeah. We should always believe everything that wrestlers say on social media. It's always true.
So who thinks that tie-dye Ron Spears, or whatever his name is, will be Cody's opponent at Double or Nothing?
No, it's Ty Dillinger. That's his new name. Ty Dillinger.
No, he's going to Impact. He's going to save that company.
He's upgrading from 10 to 16 and is at WXW 16 karat gold as the final contest.
The perfect 16.
Yeah, he's the perfect 16.
Sweet 16.
Sweet 16. And the talking of 16, the third man to be released was a man whose Twitter activity resembles a 16-year-old girl in TJP. Who
No. Hey. Good.
Goodbye. Mr. Ugly Tattoos himself.
TJP. Those are my
The difference between TJP and the other releases was that Itami and Dillinger both asked to be released. TJP didn't. TJP, they just said they didn't need him anymore. Apparently it was down to him being tough to work with. But yeah, WWE just decided, you could leave, we don't need you anymore.
I like to think that they've wanted to cut him for ages, and they just finally found an excuse.
Yeah, it was like, we're releasing these other two guys, we can get rid of this guy now.
Hey, pal,
get 3.
These two want to be released. Let's cut these two and then cut TJP as well, because F him.
I have
Apparently,
met exactly one TJP fan, and that was the same guy who told me that he didn't like AJ Styles because he was unlikable and only had 2 moves.
Sounds like something
he would know about TJP fans.
Yeah.
Spend his money game, no compete game, more terrible tattoos.
Yeah, apparently the heat was for the tattoos. We don't know that for sure, but he got the tattoos without letting them know. So that may have been the reason. But apparently he was just a bit of a bellend to work with.
So that's why they used such an old picture on WWE.com. They used a picture without any tattoos. And I was wondering why.
Tattoos. Like you randomly up in Worlds Collide and just had a sleeve full.
But what is interesting about these, and we said about Ty going to AEW before, is these were released on Friday. Double or Nothing is on May 25th. 90 days from the day that these were released makes it May 23rd, so they would be eligible to appear at Double or Nothing.
Ty will be there. Hideo's
Ty will be there.
AEW, and TJP.
I doubt they want TJP at AEW, even if he wanted to do it. I doubt they'd bring him in. I was going to say something else.
Can build the Philippine tag team or wrestling team.
Yeah, he's going to be the boom for the Filipino wrestling, and then in 5 years' time we'll be talking about NXT Philippines.
NXT Philippines. Head trainer TJP. But also another thing I noticed about these, Hideo and TJP, 205 Live guys, does it seem like they're sort of basically killing 205 Live? Because we've seen in a few weeks and months prior, Rush debut on Raw, Maverick debut on Raw, they've been integrated. Mustafa's left 205 Live completely for SmackDown. Gulak went on NXT a couple of weeks ago, Nice was on NXT a few weeks ago. Is this just WWE sort of utilising people on several brands? Or and Lucha House Party as well, I tend to forget about their existence. Or is it a case of them disbanding 205 Live?
No, I don't believe 205 Live is going to end or is anywhere near that. I just believe that they want to give 205 Live a little bit new face, new guys.
Yeah, new people in the tournament, I think.
Bring in new people, and also just they never advertise 205 Live or barely do that. And why not use the talent of 205 Live on Raw or SmackDown to hype the show on the network? So
see, the problem with that is you could say do that, but they haven't, because it's been completely irrelevant. You've got Maverick, who's a heel manager for AOP on Raw, but a babyface general manager on 205 Live. Lucha House Party lose all the time and get battered by Elias with his guitar. It's not like...
That was so funny.
That was the best moment of that show. Best moment of Raw this year. But, yeah, you could say the advertising 205 Live. But I don't think they are. I don't think anyone's seen Lucha House Party on Raw and gone, oh, I need to watch these guys on 205 Live.
Do not want to watch 205 Live. One more shot I can see Kalisto, hard pass.
Not really. The only time you could say they've done that is with Drew Gulak, but that was on NXT, not on Raw and SmackDown.
Maybe if they put the Cruiserweight title matches on the actual pay-per-view instead of the kickoff shows, more people would choose. But, they're going to do a whole tournament for the Cruiserweights to get the title shot on Mania, and then shove it on the kickoff.
Yeah, we'll talk about that now, actually. It's on the agenda later, but now it's come up. We'll talk about that now. The 205 Live tournament, first of all. The first two matches are this coming Tuesday, which are Tony Nese versus Kalisto and Drew Gulak versus the Bryan Kendrick. Yeah! It's going to make Dan very happy. The storied rivalry between Gulak and Kendrick. First of all, who do we think's advancing from those two matches? And then, if we do have any picks for the winner.
So it's going to be... Yeah, you go first.
And hopefully...
Oh, your mic's gone off.
Yes.
It's completely turned off. It's gone off.
Okay.
It's gone well.
Stay tuned.
I think he was going to say Kalisto His favorite wrestler?
I think I was going to say hopefully Khalees. Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
It's gone out. No, there's no sound being
He
produced.
says he wants Otis on 205 Live.
Watching him struggle is the
Move on.
greatest thing.
Dan,
Okay.
you go.
Well, obviously in the first match, Tony Nese is going to win because I actually believe that Tony Nese is going all the way through the finals and is facing his buddy Murphy at WrestleMania. And for Bryan Kenny versus Drew Gulak, which is going to be the superior wrestling match. That's going to be won by Gulak because, he is a little bit younger. He still has to win the championship, and I believe it's better for him to go over and not Kenrick. So,
I think if Murphy hadn't sort of moved from NXT to 205 Live and gone under this sort of rejuvenation, Gulak would be champion by now. I think the only reason Gulak hasn't been champion is because it's Murphy.
yes. I agree. So, Connel. Connel's stage.
I think he's back.
Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
Hello again.
Hey, yes. Hopefully Nice, probably Kalisto.
Yeah. Unfortunately. Amadou.
I think Kalisto's gonna win, because of course he's gonna win. And I think Gulak is gonna win.
Yeah. Any picks for the final full tournament?
I don't know who's in it.
Yeah.
If I had to make a guess. Probably Tyler Bate.
Because, like, they could announce that, like, Adam Cole's in it for some reason, and I'm like, oh.
They could say, here we go, here's the 205 Live bracket. Brock Lesnar.
It's like, yeah, Drew Gulak's gonna win. And then, like, Ricochet, it's like, oh. Never mind.
Yeah, I think Ariel Daivari can go all the way. Ariel Daivari's first round opponent is John Cena.
I would love to see Ariel Daivari, but he's definitely staying here, and they're not going to book heel versus heel. So, yeah, my money is on Tony Nese.
I had this problem because if you've not seen it, you can go and check out the video or the article right now. The WrestleMania 35 full card predictions. And obviously the Cruiserweight title match is on there. And I ended up predicting Tyler Bate because I don't think it's... You look at the 205 Live roster now, I don't think there's any babyfaces on there that either haven't beaten Murphy... haven't been beaten by Murphy before, or aren't going to beat Murphy. So...
Lindsay Dorado.
I had to... Oh, of course.
Wait, has
Jack Gallagher.
See, Grand Metalik would be one if they utilised him properly, but they don't. Carrillo is one, but Murphy already beat him on TV a couple of weeks ago. So I ended up picking Tyler Bate. I think it's going to be... The two I whittled it down to, and I actually didn't have Bate at first. I actually had Drake Maverick. I don't think they're going to do that.
I don't think he'll be in the tournament because he announced it.
Yeah, they sort of... I thought he'd have hinted at it if he'd have announced it, when he announced it, sort of thing. I thought he'd be like, there's going to be some big surprises, but he didn't say that. He just said, there's going to be a tournament.
Christina, maybe?
Maybe Kushida, but I think they're saving him for bigger things because they...
NXT crowd, yeah.
Yeah, because they're basically hiding him. They're keeping him a secret. When they released the Performance Center picture with the new Performance Center trainees, he wasn't on there. He has signed with them, but they're just hiding him. And I think putting him in a 205 Live tournament, as much as we like 205 Live, isn't the big reveal sort of thing.
In the crowd at TakeOver because NXT needs new people.
Yeah.
Segueing to...
Give me a second.
Segueing to...
We haven't
Speaking of
talked
NXT
about...
people...
Hold on, because... where?
We forgot someone.
Yeah, we've missed half of it off because we jumped around before. I'm trying to work out. Speaking of NXT people, Arn Anderson left.
Oh.
Champion.
Yeah.
I didn't have a picture for that.
Yeah. And
Perfect segment.
the WWE locker room doesn't seem quite happy. People started asking where Arn Anderson is because he was always there as a producer, and where he didn't show up because WWE decided to release him. And if you take a look at Dolph Ziggler's or Scott Dawson's Twitter, you can see that the locker room is pretty much very upset about the release of AA or AW Arn Anderson and the master of the spine roster, the best spine roster in the entire business still. And well, it's kind of weird because Arn Anderson is part of the Four Horsemen, and the Four Horsemen will definitely be at the 17th birthday party for Ric Flair on Monday. And why couldn't they have waited for that? So I believe that Arn has retired, but there's no news, no information for that. So, but they hired new producers, so maybe they really just saw.
Who was that? Who was that, Liam? Segue.
Yeah, who's that? Tell us.
Well, reported by PW Insider, WWE hired the legend that is Bruce Prichard, who you might know as Brother Love if you don't know him as Bruce Prichard. He's going to join the WWE Creative team in a very, very prominent role. PW Insider in their report noted that it would be as important as possible. He's literally going to be sort of, by the looks of it, Vince's second guy in terms of creative, which is quite a major change. And I think getting rid of Arn, bringing in Prichard, and bringing in the likes of Daivari, Abyss, Sonjay Dutt, it shows that they are sort of, as much as like sometimes we might not agree with the decisions that they're making, you know, maybe we wouldn't have liked to see Arn leave. It shows that they're at least sort of realising that they need to make changes. Maybe they're not making the right ones, but they've realised they need to make changes nonetheless.
Yes, did Raw not give that away?
It did.
Well, that only gave away that Vince wants changes, not that the rest agrees with it.
Yeah, because we'll skip to that actually. The NXT call-ups. The thing that I found most startling about them is that Vince did not tell Triple H they were happening, and I think that is a terrible thing to do.
He's just walking around backstage. He sees Ciampa, he sees Ricochet, and he's like, "Vince,
what are you doing here?
What are my wrestlers doing here?" And
Bring me the NXT guys.
And then he's like, "Am I effing going over?" Oh,
I think you could have talked to me first.
I mean, we're not going to spoil anything in terms of NXT wise, but having seen the spoilers, it seems like there hasn't sort of been. There's no issues being created by this, by the looks of it. What will be interesting to see is how sort of the two mirror each other, because obviously NXT is taped,
Right.
which means it's going to have to stay the same from now until I think they taped the last one until Takeover.
Yeah,
I might be wrong, but I think they did. So it's the main roster that has to adapt to what's happening on NXT if they want the storylines to sort of intertwine. Which means Vince has to take an interest in NXT, which I don't think he's going to do.
NXT. Yes,
It means Vince has to watch NXT. Yeah, I think if it was the other way around, well, I don't know, because I mean, I forgot what I was going to say.
Changes his mind all the time. So if NXT
Yeah, exactly.
saw a direction that Vince was going in, they can go, okay, we'll look in that direction, and then swerve, bro. They split up.
Yeah, it's hard now, and I think it was a silly thing to do. It was a rash thing to do. Yes, obviously it's good.
Somebody that was a babyface in NXT and a heel on the main roster, and or vice versa, that wasn't Triple H.
I can't remember.
Well,
It's not too common.
I don't know how they've done it, but already Black, Ricochet, Gargano, Ciampa, they just feel like four more guys on the roster and not really special. So
Yeah, I didn't really do anything massive. Like Ricochet beat Eric Young. Like that's not how you introduce someone.
I think DIY is probably best
Ricochet
off.
versus Balor. with a competitive match that he lost would have done him better than beating Eric Young.
Yeah. And Ricochet Balor was the original plan until Triple H said, hold on, you can't do that. Which is a bit random, because you'd think Triple H would be the guy that said you can do that.
Because they're doing it at WrestleMania.
Oh.
As for when my list of predictions comes out, by the way.
Yes, keep your eyes peeled for that. I think Black... We'll have a look at them now. Black's debut was... He beat Elias, which is fine, but it was he took most of the offense in the match. He got his finisher over, in the sense that he out of nowhere, but I think he would have been better served just hitting it straight away and winning in seconds. Maybe not against Elias.
Absolutely.
Against Jinder Mahal.
Jinder, yeah. Someone like that.
Because that's former WWE champion beaten.
And then Black beat Andrade on SmackDown, which was a better match, obviously, because Andrade is a better wrestler than Elias. And it seemed a lot more even as well. It seemed like it wasn't a case of Black took most of the offense and then hit his finisher at the end. It seemed like it was an actual even match, which it made it better, I think.
Yeah.
Ricochet's 2 matches, he teamed with Finn Balor on the Raw to beat Rush and Lashley. I think it was fine. It was...
But better than what was planned, because reportedly it was planned that Vince wanted Balor versus Ricochet, and Triple H changed it last minute to a tag team match, because, and he is right with it, I believe, the babyface versus babyface match, and Ricochet probably losing because Balor is a new champion. Yeah. That would have been even more damaging.
Yeah, they could, because they had DIY beat the Revival as well. I don't think you can have 2 champions be beaten in the space of a couple of hours by new guys.
And their first champs for the both.
What was I going to say? No, go on.
Oh, I was going to say, I definitely think DIY were better off in terms of, like, looking like better, I guess, performers or whatever, because they went over the Revival and the Bar.
Yeah.
And, like, okay, you can say the Revival maybe not that much, but, like, the Bar are, like, a top tag team in WWE, so, like...
Yeah, that's a top tag team, like, main event.
Yeah.
And one tag team champion.
Meanwhile, Ricochet was struggling against Leo Rush, who no one struggles against on Raw. So, like...
And Eric.
Oh, yeah, and Eric Young.
And the thing about the Rush-Lashley match as well is it made no sense because Lashley beat Rush up the night before. It was very sort of...
relationship.
Well, it was very... I think maybe I agree with not doing Ricochet versus Balor, but I still think there was a better way of doing it. Doing something with Ricochet that wasn't that. But yeah, back to Ciampa and Gargano beating the Bar. Ciampa had a bit of an injury scare. I think they were on the top rope. I think they were going to do a superplex or something. And Sheamus just full on landed on Ciampa's knee, the injured one.
Went for the split powerbomb thing. Where the Rollins busted his knee with. But he didn't do that. He hit the move, but then, because Sheamus is a big boy, if he fell down, hit his leg.
Yeah.
Speaking of Sheamus being a...
Oh, no, go on. It doesn't matter.
I was going to say, speaking of Sheamus being a big boy, all the NXT guys look so small on Raw. It's really weird.
Oh, no,
they are.
Down 100%. Like
vanilla midgets.
Like, Balor made Ricochet look tiny, and that's weird.
That's Finn Balor.
It's bad.
But I was thinking about this before, actually. Not about that, but I was looking at the guys in NXT, and I was thinking there's a couple of big lads in there that are actually good wrestlers, and I feel like Vince would like.
Yeah.
Dominic Dijakovic and Punishment Martinez.
Yeah.
I think Vince will
his name right.
It should be Dijakovic. It should be Dijakovic.
Imagine Vince is like, I don't like Dijakovic. Just call him Dominic Dijak.
Oh, he's getting his name.
No,
He's
he's getting his name shortened. 100%.
Just
I
call
think
him-
it'll just be Dijakovic.
Yeah.
But
It's just
Yeah, I
calling
think-
him Big Dom.
Big Dom. Big D. Big D. Big D or double D.
So he can book Big E versus Big D.
And that would also technically be Double D versus Double D.
Okay.
That's about Biggie's cans.
Sorry. Well,
There was a
back
pay per
now.
view last Sunday.
Yeah, we talked about Raw and SmackDown. We didn't talk about the pay-per-view that happened beforehand, and it feels like ages ago now. It was actually only under a week ago. The Elimination Chamber. We'll go through the results quickly. There's not really too much to say about this. Buddy Murphy retained against Akira Tozawa on the pre-show in what was a really good match. Sasha Banks and Bayley won the Women's Tag Team Championships Elimination Chamber match. They lasted from the start, along with Absolution, who also lasted from the start. And I think the match itself was a little bit naff until the end. The ending was fine. The right team won, but I think the match itself, it was. I don't want to say this because I'll sound horrible. It was sort of a typical women's multi-person match in the sense that it felt a bit sloppy, a bit like the Royal Rumbles do. It just was.
It's who the women they've picked. When Nia to me,
yeah, definitely, yeah. The Riot Squad had a good spot where they jumped off the pod. I didn't expect that from them.
I remember the moment my heart broke when Nia and Tamina pinned the Iconics.
Same.
Oh, also as well, just before we move on, people that are saying Naomi and Carmella got punished by being eliminated first. They didn't. So stop.
Yeah,
They did.
let's punish Naomi for her husband getting arrested, but award said husband.
Because the husband won the championship, which is the next match. Coincidentally, the Usos did beat the Miz and Shane McMahon for the tag team championships, the SmackDown ones, and I didn't see that coming. Really, I thought Miz and Shane would have at least one retention and then lose them at Fastlane.
I thought that.
They're having a rematch. They're having a rematch at Fastlane, so we'll see how that goes. I suppose.
Man has all the power. He's the best in the world, and he owed no rematch clauses because he's Shane McMahon. He's the best in the world.
No, I like that they did that because they're just like, oh, okay, cool.
At least it had a like I know they've done the qualifiers before they've had the same person get the rematch, but it's still the rematch happening again. It wasn't automatic, but they did earn it. But this one they just explained, nah, Shane's the boss, he can do it.
My favorite part was the Usos trying to act like Shane was carrying the team. I was like, oh.
Yeah, but he's the best in the world. He'd carry any team.
Talking of carrying the team, Leo Rush got pinned by... That was a terrible segue. Leo Rush got pinned by Finn Balor to win the Intercontinental Championship, and I think this was a terrible way to give Finn Balor the Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah.
I don't think you ever have a babyface sort of win the championship by means like that. I think
because it still raises questions. I believe we were talking about this either last week. Yeah, we did the predictions, where they're saying kayfabe makes him look strong because he beat two guys. But he didn't beat Lashley. It's sort of a double-edged sword. Yes, he did win by beating two people, but he pinned AJ and avoided the big guy.
Yeah.
The big guy. Ryback wasn't in this match, but the almighty
Dominator.
Oh, Mike Rome on Raw. He announced him as the almighty Intercontinental Champion.
Oh.
Yes.
The unstoppable Buddy Murphy.
The unstoppable Cruiserweight Champion, Buddy Murphy.
That's my new favourite. I can't wait for the moody Aleister Black. Or just Aleister.
The moody Aleister Black. Yeah, I can see that happening.
Drop the black, just the moody Aleister.
I think Alice is a fine name on its own.
Yeah.
People are saying they prefer Black. I think Alice is fine in itself.
Just calling Tommy End. That was a great name.
I think Ciampa's name's going to get shortened because Vince will misspell tomato one time. I know, what a stupid pal. That's a stupid name, pal. Let's cut that off.
Ronda Rousey squashed Ruby Riott.
They want to point it out to him because they'll be scared to, and then he'll notice and they'll just chop it off. Anyway, Ronda Rousey.
In fairness, it is a stupid name and it is a terrible spelling. But anyway, moving on. Ronda Rousey squashed Ruby Riott and then got battered by Becky Lynch afterwards with a crutch. Becky legitimately hit Ronda Rousey as hard as she could, as was the agreement between the two, and she gave Ronda Rousey stitches in her arm and also made her bleed heavily from her head. Luckily, Rousey was fine. She was tested for a concussion. She didn't have one. But Becky was very hard with the crutch. Not much else to say about that. And then we move on.
A quick start on the women's title match.
Yeah.
What they did on the Raw I thought was fine by giving Ruby the extra shot, but I'm sort of conflicted because I understand why they did the squash because like nobody thought Ruby was going to win, and it does make her look weak, but I also get not wasting like 20 minutes of time on a match where probably the most predictable match of all time. So just get it over and done with on one hand, but on one hand I can see why people would moan. But then they did give Ruby the rematch.
I wasn't happy at the time. I've sort of looked back and gone, maybe it's alright. But when they did the match on Raw, the first thing I said was, that's the match that sort of happened at the Chamber. In terms of, I mean, it was a bit, I say that, but I think that also made Riott look really weak because Ronda kicked out of 3 finishers. Yeah. I think that was a bit silly. Not as bad as squashing her, but it was still, I mean, because the thing with squashing is, you're going to have the excuse of, I wasn't ready, sort of thing, the way it happened. Because Ruby was doing the whole running round outside the ring sort of thing. You can do an excuse for that. But I think the match on Raw, in hindsight, the match on Raw was quite damaging. Sure, Ruby can just win a match tomorrow against Alicia Fox, not tomorrow, Monday against Alicia Fox or something, and she'll be fine.
It's Natalia, Dana Brooke, and
yeah, then who's injured? Nikki Cross probably. Yeah. But yeah, I think. Anyway, all I'm doing is stalling, putting off talking about this next match. 3 men in WWE history have pinned Brock Lesnar. No, they haven't. 3 men in WWE history have pinned Braun Strowman. One of them is Brock Lesnar. One of them is Roman Reigns, and the other one is Baron Corbin.
Okay. Truly the top talent right there.
Baron Corbin is going to win the Universal Championship one day. It's going to happen.
Because he's the darkness and the thunder.
The Universal match of battle is going to be Rollins defending against Corbin, and I would not be surprised if McIntyre was going to win and Corbin hit him.
Oh dear. But yeah, Corbin, they had the no DQ match. Lashley and McIntyre came out. Triple powerbomb, shield powerbomb, actually, through a table. No, it wasn't. Was it through a table?
No, it was onto a step.
Many tables.
No, it was. Yeah,
it was through 2 tables.
Through tables.
Two tables, I think. 2 tables on steps.
I understand why you might forget anything about this match.
Yeah, I've tried to erase it from my memory. But yeah, Corbin pinned Strowman. And then the next night, they had a table. The next night, we were all joking about, oh god, I bet they announced another Corbin versus Strowman match, and they did. The first match of the night, 25 minutes.
With the feed, and I saw like the NXT debuts. I was like, that's cool. I'm going to check what the first NXT match is. So I refreshed Twitter and I see a gif of Corbin versus Braun. I'm just like, ugh.
Oh, the best part about this match, I remember watching it. Braun got a table out, and the best part about it was it when it ended. Braun got a table out and set it up, and he walked off to do something else. Corbin just put the table back underneath the ring, completely forgetting that to win a tables match you have to put your opponent through a table. It was pointless. I think the match itself was better than the one at the Chamber, but it was still pointless. if we have to see it again this week, I will absolutely flip though. Like last week, it was sort of funny. It was sort of like, they're doing it again. What a bunch of idiots! But this time, if they do it again, I'm genuinely going to go insane.
This week, it's going to be a ladder match. Then it's going to be a chairs match, and then they're going to have their TLC match at Fastlane.
Had a TLC match.
An actual one.
3 stages of hell.
Yes.
3 stages of hell. 3 matches in one. 60-minute Iron Man match at WrestleMania.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say.
And Corbin still wins.
Corbin still wins. When Lashley and McIntyre come out at the end.
Man bland.
On to more happy things that happened at the Chamber. The last match, the Elimination Chamber match, Kofi Kingston. Stellar performance again. Runner-up. Very Santino Marella-esque. Pinned by Daniel Bryan. And it was a very good match. What I didn't like about it was Joe getting eliminated first. I thought that should have been Jeff Hardy. Poor Joe. He can't. I don't know what he's done to sort of deserve this. Because I'd have thought he'd be sort of Vince's not perfect guy, but the way that he sort of talked.
He had the nerve to get injured twice. How dare he?
Well, it could be that. It's probably a number of things, including that. I don't know.
Oh, Wendy!
Because the thing is, you can't say that like they don't push him, because he's been in multiple Universal Championship matches, multiple WWE Championship matches. He just never wins them. Yeah. So he's clearly seen as a big guy and a big threat sort of thing, but very Braun Strowman-esque in that they just don't want to pull the trigger for whatever reason. But yeah, he was eliminated first. Jeff Hardy was second. I think AJ was third, and then Kofi. He was, because Kofi did the stupid thing to Orton, and it was amazing.
Not in the Chamber.
Oh yeah, you're right. That was on SmackDown. Yeah, sorry. But yeah, Kofi eliminated Orton then, and then it was Kofi and Bryan. For good 10 minutes. That could have been a match in itself. And after that performance, it will be. At Fastlane.
Yeah.
WWE wiped out their plans for Fastlane. They had completely different plans that didn't include Kofi Kingston. On the day of SmackDown, changed them, and now Kofi's in the match, which very fully deserved, obviously. And yeah, I mean, he's not going to win, but it'll be a very nice sort of showcase sort of thing. And apparently, that's set to main event. Obviously, Vince changes his mind on that sort of thing the whole time. Just before the Elimination Chamber was going to start, literally 2 hours, the Women's Chamber match was meant to main event. So saying at this point that the WWE Championship match is going to main event Fastlane literally could change at any given second. It's probably going to be Barry Championship.
Okay, it's going to be Corbin and Braun.
Staying on the WWE Championship, the reported match for WrestleMania, according to Bleacher Report, I can't remember the fella's name, but it was a man. There you go. It was Kevin or something, I don't know.
Jeff.
He said Jeff, something like that.
Jefferson.
So Jeff for this.
He said the current planned opponent for Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania is Kevin Owens, and they're going to do a whole Daniel Bryan's Eco Warrior thing against Kevin Owens, that lovely guy from down the road sort of thing, which I think is it suits Owens. A lot of people are saying Owens should be this horrible, terrible heel. I think he's going to suit this role perfectly.
I think he's going to smash this role, to be fair.
I mean, also, no heels in WWE is a terrible heel. They're all just either cowards or like weird.
Yeah. Sean Ross Sapp said he believes this story, and obviously he's very reputable, so as far as we're concerned, it is going to be Bryan against Owens.
Because they'll be the perfect guy to save for that day after Mania return. Like,
yes.
And then they had Balor the year before and Cesaro the year before that. I think that'll be Sheamus in 2050 in the theme. So I think that's what they're going to save Owens for that. So I don't think he'll be at Mania, and it'll be someone else who's returning to the SmackDown brand to face Bryan.
Yeah.
This is where if I had the soundbite of them screaming, and his name is John Cena, put it here.
The thing is, I don't think he's coming after Mania, because they wouldn't be teasing his return if it was coming after Mania, I think.
Yeah, I'm saying the same thing. Because he said, when he started doing these video promos a couple of weeks ago, he said, I'll be back in a month, which I took as he's going to be back in a month.
It could mean that he's back for Mania, and the guy they saved to the night after is his best friend, Samuel Zayn.
That's what I was about to say. I think they could do Zayn. I mean, the thing is, I don't want to do this because we've seen it millions of times, but we've never seen it for the WWE Championship. So
no, they're not feuding. They're lovely best friends from down the road.
I've also never seen it with this whole switch in their dynamic, because Sammy's always the face and Kevin's always the heel. Cause...
lovely family man Kevin Owens versus obnoxious hipping dickhead Sami Zayn.
Hold on. I don't think anything else that happened on Raw or SmackDown, is there? In terms of news-wise?
Well, they
still haven't
decided.
In Asuka.
Oh god, yeah, let's talk about that. Mandy Rose beat Asuka.
Are we switching to SmackDown? Okay, cool.
Mandy
Lacey Evans
at Fastlane, and then Lacey versus Asuka at Mania, because Mandy's going to get the shot because she pinned the champion, and then after Asuka beats her, she's going to be like, "Oh, I want Lacey because it's her fault," and Lacey's going to pin her.
She's going to say that. She's going to say it was Lacey's fault, except it wasn't Lacey's fault. I think they're going to do the same thing they did with Survivor Series 2017, where Shane blamed Owens and Zayn for losing the Survivor Series match, but it wasn't actually their fault. They just happened to sort of turn it at one point.
History, like at WrestleMania 31 when Roman had Lesnar beat until Seth cashed in, but if you watch the match, he was down after an F5 and about to get pinned.
Yeah. We'll talk about Lacey now. She's on the agenda for later. We'll talk about her now because she's come up. Lacey Evans is set for to replace, the exact words were, to replace Ronda Rousey at the top of the card.
Ah, yeah.
Because she's blonde.
So weird.
It's weird because you can say, like, oh, she's blonde, but Mandy's blonde. And for my money, Mandy's a better wrestler, so I don't really understand why they've decided, why Vince took a sudden liking.
Is it because she's a vet or whatever?
Yeah.
Yes. That's a good point, actually. It probably is. They like stuff like that. They like being able to say, our champion is a vet.
And mother. She's also a mother, like Stephanie McMahon.
Yeah, WrestleMania squeaky clean, which is something that I predicted as soon as they called her up. I was joking when I said it, but it's actually going to be a reality, which is yikes.
Yeah, WWE is watching us and is taking our suggestions to book their shows. It's crazy.
Speaking of Lacey,
I've just spotted before we move on, I've just spotted a comment on the chat saying hi. So yeah.
Hi.
Hi, Jermaine.
Hi.
Before we move on from Lacey, you must talk about Otis moment of the week to Otis nodding his head to the tune of Lacey Evans' theme song when she came out on Raw.
Oh,
that's Otis.
I didn't notice that when I was the first time I watched the show, because obviously it's hard for me to watch.
But Liam goes and watches any Otis segment.
Exactly. It's hard for me to do multiple things, so sometimes I miss parts of the show. But I always make sure I go out of my way, maybe the next day, look at YouTube, or if I end up doing something for an hour after Raw, I'll then check YouTube after that and watch the Otis segment that happens on Raw, and it always brings up some sort of moment, this moment that's captured that I didn't notice the first time. That absolutely makes my day. So it was. I mean, hopefully, like.
Oh no.
They have a prominent. I mean, one thing I'm going to say is for Otis, the thing they've done with him and Tucker, turning them into brothers, is a bit stupid, really. They're doing the whole, because even the way they made them do the promo, they were like, Otis is my little brother, and Otis was like, oh yeah, you're my big brother, you're gonna look after me. It was all a bit Eugene, and I didn't really like it.
Jesse and Festus.
Yes, something like Jesse, yeah. Which is a shame, because Otis is genuinely one of the strongest men alive. He's almost definitely the strongest person they have on the roster right now.
No. Oh wait, Roman isn't on the roster technically. Never mind.
Speaking of the world's strongest man,
Okay.
Yeah, Dr. Hickory.
Hold on, what are we doing? Oh, speaking of the world's strongest man who was in the Hall of Fame last year, is that what we were going with?
Yes. He also
Yes.
produced comics.
Yes. Hall of Fame this year. First inductees were officially announced. They are D-Generation X, the group of Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Billy Gunn, Road Dogg, X-Pac, and perhaps most surprisingly, China is going to be in the Hall of Fame.
And
I've seen people moaning, saying China should have her own spot. But I think just, be a bit grateful that she's been given this one.
More importantly,
And she will be mentioned a lot. She's always on the thumbnails of WWE. They've been talking a lot about China rather than the rest of the group, so WWE will give China enough spotlight at the Hall of Fame. Don't worry.
The more interesting thing to me is that Triple H is going in as part of this class, because I absolutely refuse to believe he's not going to get a solo induction. But it seems a bit weird to do that when he's already technically in. I don't think he'll have a solo induction until he dies.
I could see that.
Because I don't think he'll want it, because
He's
I think
Triple H.
if Vince proposes to himself to Triple H, if Vince proposes to Triple H and says, I want to put you in the Hall of Fame, I think Triple H is more likely to say no, don't do it. And then when Vince leaves, he's not going to put himself in. Because a lot of people say...
Yeah, I think that selfish part of him is still in there somewhere. And he'll be like,
if
I'm going in there, I want to be the only inductee that year.
Well,
4 hours of game.
A lot of people say that, but I was listening to Sean Ross Sapp's Fightful Select podcast, and he made the point of saying, for all the sort of backstage politicking and stuff that Triple H used to do to make sure he was the big guy,
The big dog, I say.
big dog, so to speak. Nowadays, nowadays he's more like, he acts like a dad to all the NXT talent, in the sense that he really hates releasing people. Like, he won't just release someone because it makes him feel bad, in the sense that he's letting someone into the world. And if he does have to release someone, he gives them classes in things that they can do in their career moving on afterwards, lectures and stuff like that. I don't know if
Papa H for nothing.
I mean,
Quadruple H.
So if everybody in NXT, as well as Stephanie, also called him Daddy.
yes, indeed. Well, I think, I don't know, it's one of them. If he is going to be inducted, it's going to be in the next few years before Vince leaves, because Vince will do it. Well, not Vince will do it, but Vince will say, go in the Hall of Fame. Which I don't think Triple H will put himself in.
Yeah.
When he's in charge. But people are saying, why isn't Rick Rude in there? Because Rick Rude was a founding member of DX. For me personally, for someone that didn't live through that era, and doesn't really have a knowledge of DX other than what's been given to us, I don't think of Rick Rude as part of DX. I don't really see a problem with that.
This is literally the first time I've heard he was part of DX.
Because then you can say, why isn't Hornswoggle going in? Because he was with them in 2009. You can say,
And I'm pretty sure they wouldn't want Rick Rude in the same vein as Mr. WrestleMania Shawn Michaels and 16-time World Champion Ric Flair, because they were going to be the only two-time Hall of Famers after that Hall of Fame induction ceremony. And Rick Rude is already in the Hall of Fame. He got inducted in 2017, and he never won a world title, so why should he be a two-time Hall of Famer? I don't see that.
I think they'll mention him. They might even bring him out onto the stage, sort of thing.
They won't because he's dead.
Yes,
Okay.
he's not alive anymore.
You know what I mean? They'll mention him. They'll sort of bring him up.
No, you shouldn't bring him up. That's illegal.
They will talk about him as a founding member.
So my earliest knowledge of DX was just Triple H and Shawn Michaels with the green spray paint.
Yeah.
It wasn't until like years later I was like, wait, there was more people in DX.
Yeah, there's also the Old Age Outlaws. We haven't talked about them yet because Billy Gunn is going to be there and he's actually part of AEW as a producer, so that's interesting.
AEW.
Yeah.
W. Speaking of AEW.
Speaking of AEW.
Segue.
Speaking of AEW.
There we go.
I don't know where we're going with this.
Yeah, let's talk about NXT.
Speaking of AEW, NXT.
Okay.
The big news from NXT, two pieces of rather big news. Well, I say big news. It's not really, because they teased this as this massive special announcement on Twitter, and everyone got really excited about it because it came after the Ricochet Black Gargano Ciampa debuts. The Dusty Rhodes Classic is back, which is a slightly underwhelming announcement, really, for what the hype they gave it.
No. Again, bringing up my hatred for wrestling Twitter, what did they really realistically expect it to be?
Well,
I mean, I think a lot of people were expecting something like it to go to 90 minutes or to be integrated with
NXT is now 3 hours long and it's going to feature the stars of SmackDown and Raw.
Yes,
one thing.
Who's going to be champion in this NXT title match? Baron Corbin.
Baron Corbin, the new general manager of NXT.
Oh my God.
NXT history. Baron Corbin back to where he first found his feet, beating up CJ Parker.
Yeah.
One other thing that was being thrown around was what was I going to say? One other thing that was being thrown around was that it could have been because Triple H on Raw, when he did the promo introducing the NXT guys, he said NXT is our developmental brand, and then stopped himself and then went back and said it's not a developmental brand, it's a global touring, it's our third global touring brand, putting it alongside Raw and SmackDown. I think a lot of people were expecting an announcement. I don't know what sort of announcement you can make, but an announcement akin to that sort of thing.
It will be a shake-up.
To be fair,
NXT TakeOver
that would be
Germany
the worst
is what
idea.
they would expect.
I don't like the idea of NXT being in the shake-up. It kills what makes NXT NXT if you send Braun Strowman and...
Well, they wouldn't send Braun Strowman. They'd send guys that are doing nothing like Dolph Ziggler down there to put other people over.
Then it's still not on the same level as Raw and SmackDown, so don't pretend it is.
I don't think it should be part of the Superstar Shake-Up, but I definitely think more guys that are on the main roster should be moved down there.
Yes.
Just independently.
Who's now the newest star in NXT in shake-up? John Cena. He's coming out. And he's the new...
I think John Cena should wrestle on a takeover at some point. I think
whoever
he wrestles is going to be an instant. I think it should have been EC3. I think at this point it might be Velveteen Dream for the North American Championship.
That would be awesome.
They're definitely going to do Cena versus Dream sometime.
Yeah, and I think takeover. Maybe takeover now and then next year WrestleMania or something like that. I just want Cena to wrestle on takeover. I just think it would be a really cool thing and something I actually think he'd want to do as a person.
Yeah.
I think he'd like that. But it's who you put him against, and I think Dream feels like. Well, I think the only thing is, I can't see him losing to anyone. And if it was a title match, we're staying Velveteen Dream here. I don't think.
Speaking of Velveteen,
drop the championship to Cena. So I don't know about that. But
thinking, what championship does he have? Well,
he now has the North American Championship. Because this week on NXT, as you said, it was taped a few weeks ago, he beat Johnny Gargano for the NXT Championship after a rather weird decision to challenge for the North American Championship rather than the NXT Championship, which I find completely and utterly illogical. I just don't understand why you do that.
That's like winning the Royal Rumble, then going, "Hey, R-Truth,
It's Continental Championship.
put that belt on the line against me, R-Truth."
It's just, I mean, I get that it has to be done for the purpose of the story, and obviously he doesn't want Ciampa to drop the NXT title at this point. But I think there's a better way of doing it, because I think it undermines the NXT Championship. Some people are saying it puts the North American Championship at a higher level because people want to have it, but I think that it undermines the NXT Championship because it's just been bypassed.
Well, you can always argue that the Velveteen Dream is a special guy who makes special decisions on his own, and he doesn't really always do rational decisions. So, that's the argument you can make. The Dream.
Maybe he gets that.
With the elevation of the mid-card title thing, I get wanting to make it feel important, but it shouldn't be level with your world title. It should always be at least a little step below.
I think maybe, how did Dream get the... Did he win a tournament or a match or something?
Yeah, the Worlds Collide tournament.
I think the Worlds Collide tournament should have just been for a shot at the North American Championship then. I think that makes it feel bigger if people are fighting in a tournament over it.
Well, why would guys from NXT UK or 205 Live want to fight for the North American title?
I mean, Pete Dunne wanted it, so...
You're going to pass it for free time.
Those brands do all intertwine, so... We're saying it's not like we never see 205 Live guys on NXT. I think
you go up to TJP and you're like, "Hey man, do you want to shot at this title?" He just goes, "No, I'll pass up on that title match. Sorry, I'm not on that."
No, he wanted to go to SmackDown anyway.
Well, now he's gone.
I think making the tournament to be for the North American Championship match hires a North American Championship match. So high as a North American Championship in the sense that people are fighting to get a shot at it because that's how important it is. But it doesn't undermine the NXT Championship because that's not being bypassed in the same sort of way, in the same sentence sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like when Dream said it, Ciampa and Gargano were stood next to each other with both belts, and he said, "I want that one." And it's like, well, what do you want that one for?
But
that sort of thing.
At the end of the day, the match was awesome, and I believe that the Velveteen Dream is going to be a great champion, and the championship victory itself was great, so I don't mind that. I really like that the Dream is getting some great recognition now, and he should be champion. He is champion now, and this kid got a great future ahead of him.
I believe that he can get called up to Raw randomly without being told, and they have to take the belt off him on the whim. I'll be done with Dream now.
I think so.
It's interesting how they've treated the North American title, because like the inaugural champion was Adam Cole, who was already like one of the most over guys in NXT, and then next they gave it to Ricochet, who fought Pete Dunne for both the NXT UK title and the North American title on the line. Which is why I've always thought they might get rid of the regular NXT title, and make the North American title the main title there, because
I can get why. Then you've got NXT North America with the North American title. You've got NXT UK with the UK title.
Yeah.
But I don't think they want to get rid of the lineage of the NXT title. So unless they do like a territory thing where they have the North and all that, and then the NXT title can flow around.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking they might do. It's weird though.
Yeah, it's weird.
Plan for it because Triple H wasn't told, but Dream is now like the top face on NXT. He's holding the mid card back.
Well, the thing is, Black and Ricochet and Gargano and Ciampa are still going to appear on NXT at the same time, so they're going to have the next... Triple H has been given this sort of window to... Yes, they're going to move on soon, but he's been given a window at least to sort of phase them out.
Yeah.
and bring up other guys at the same time. It's not just a sudden, oh, these guys are gone now.
I don't want I don't want to name because it hasn't aired yet. But did they set up an opponent for Dream during the tapings?
Yes. Yes, I think so.
Yes, I remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
And his name is John Cena.
Sorry for the spoilers. There's actually Dreams in there. He's calling out, and then he hears "Woo!"
Yeah, that would be awesome. Flair versus Dream.
And when we
He's
bring up
going
Ric
to
Flair,
take him to Space Mountain.
when we bring up Ric Flair, that's when you have to move on.
Yes.
That's-
I think that is all we need to talk about NXT wise anyway. So we'll move on to just other little bits and bobs now.
Yeah, talking about Flair.
Talking about Flairs, Charlotte Flair is dating Andrade.
Who hubby you know, like
Ooh.
Now,
is that
it was.
invited to Ric Flair's birthday
This
party?
He should be. I think that'll be nice. Just to see him there, I think that'll be nice. I don't know if he will, but I think it'll be quite cool. But yeah, Sean Ross Sapp tweeted this out, and he made he just made a comment. He just said, yeah, they've been dating for a couple of or since last month, I think he said.
Yeah.
Been dating since last month, and then everyone sort of went mental over it, and he ended up deleting the tweet. Because it was they've been dating for apparently quite openly. Like, they haven't really hid it from anyone, despite many people not knowing, because they haven't put anything on social media about it.
Flair every day, so I don't know who she's hugging.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. But he made this big deal out of, why is everyone making a big deal out of it? Everyone should already know. And it's like, well, I don't already know, so, you know. But yeah, Charlotte's dating Andrade for what that's worth. And we can move on.
Trying to get that in.
Well, if anyone remembers that weird news bit we had like 5 or 6 years ago, when Vince McMahon noticed that Paige and Charlotte had a backstage brawl or and hated each other because Charlotte Flair was interested in Del Rio and Paige was dating with Del Rio, and Vince McMahon was driven to make that a storyline so that Paige and Charlotte would actually feud over Del Rio. And Andrade is actually the best friend, or one of the many best friends Del Rio has. And now Charlotte Flair is just dating the best friend of Del Rio.
What I think is going to happen now. What I think is going to happen now, because this news has come out, is when Andrade gets his big push that's been reported for ages, people are going to say it's because he's with Charlotte Flair. Just a quick note: it isn't. It's got nothing to do with that. It's because it's been in the plans for months. So,
yes.
Cheers.
And Del Rio is not going to return.
Yes, also that.
Hopefully.
Next thing we've got up is Kurt Angle. He's reportedly set for a retirement match at WrestleMania. And the question is, who's that going to be against? The list of potential candidates here. This was reported by. Oh, what's happened now? Oh,
What?
I think downstairs. This was reported by Slice Wrestling on Twitter, who has a somewhat decent reputation, I think. 5 names were brought up here. Were John Cena, The Undertaker, Brock Lesnar, Triple H, and Rey Mysterio. And I think it's going to be I think it's going to be. Trying to say that. I think it's going to be John Cena.
I think
Cena was set for a match with Lars Sullivan, and he hasn't. Obviously, that's not happening now. So Cena needs something to do. Everything comes full circle, as they say, and I think out of them options, it's not going to be Brock, obviously. Triple H, for all intents and purposes, is going to be against Batista. If Triple H isn't against Batista, if Batista says he doesn't want to return, I could see them doing Triple H against Angle.
I think it's going to be Triple H. I don't think Batista's going to work WrestleMania.
I think if Batista doesn't work WrestleMania, it'll be Triple H. I think if Batista does work WrestleMania, he'll work Triple H.
I think it'll be Triple H versus Angle, because I think Cena's getting the title match.
I think best case scenario, John Cena. Worst case scenario, Baron Corbin.
He's going to be busy with Braun Strowman, so don't worry about that.
It doesn't matter. It should be Jason Jordan, but he's injured.
Yeah.
I don't think it should
Or
be
Chad
Jason
Gable.
Jordan.
Chad Gable.
But he's the next generation of great, so it should be him.
But, like, I don't think-
Great thing.
Gold-blooded.
God, that's almost as bad as Boss Time and Big Dog. The only thing that makes it slightly better is it's not Michael Cole that says it, it's Corey Graves. What else have we got here? We've got Matt Hardy. His WWE contract ends on 4th of March, which is 9 days.
Yeah. He's going to resign.
He'll become a roadie.
that could be it. Yeah, he'll be one of the new influx of producers, whatever sort of thing. Yeah. Matches were announced for... Oh, another piece of news on that is, apparently, there weren't exact dates given, so I don't know if it's the same date as Matt's, but reports are that Jeff Hardy's contract is also up soon. I think he'll also resign, but as a wrestler.
They could use Matt staying on creative, to be fair, because he did all the broken stuff in TNA was all him and Jeremy Borash, who's also already there.
Maybe he can do something for Bray.
Lol.
This is what I was saying. This is when I was writing this out, I thought maybe this is what they've been waiting for with Bray. Maybe they've been waiting to see if Matt resigns, and if so, in what capacity. So they're just waiting to see what happens with Matt.
I don't think at all. They ran their course. They weren't doing anything interesting with them. They were sort of spoopy dudes, but not really. They never did any segments with them. I just think they should get rid of Spoopy Bray when he comes back.
Yeah, he will be Husky Harris again.
Obviously, you have to keep him as like this dark guy because you can't just bring him back with them rotund. But he can't. You don't want him being this spoopy dude with doll heads hanging off his bedroom wall.
I think either that or go full-on parody with Bray, where he sort of... Wait, no, that's just what Broken Matt Hardy is. Never mind. I was going to say where he's just... Where he's comically weird, and it's not, like, intentionally comically weird. Like, I don't know. It's hard to explain.
So,
like,
I think I get what you mean. So, so recently, it's been a case of everyone thinks he's bad and weird because he's been booked horribly.
Yeah.
But what you're saying is they should make him seem weird and bad on purpose, and therefore, in turn, making it funny.
I think more like... Remember when Matt and Bray first started feuding and Matt first turned broken? And like there was that whole thing where Bray was doing a promo and Matt was just making fun of him the whole time in his whole... I think sort of like that.
I'd keep him like as a baby face. Like this still like a dark sort of presence. But get rid of the spoopy maggots on the ring apron. Get rid of the dolls' heads in the House of Horrors. Keep tipping over fridges because that's funny. But just, like this dark guy, like just cut out the spoopy. Keep the lantern because that's cool. Just get rid of the Undertaker knockoff stuff.
Yeah. What else?
Just do a segment with Waylon Mercy because that would be awesome.
Bring him back.
You know what I mean?
Husky Harris, the eco-friendly recycling logo.
Yeah, talking about spooky people.
I was trying to think of
Sabu.
That's a good one. That was well played. United We Stand is happening on April 4. The full card, they announced some more details this week. Let me get them up. It's going to stream live on Fight. And the matches so far are... let me get this up. The first one that was announced was the Extreme Dream match, which will see Pentagon Jr. and Phoenix, who are the current Impact Champions, Impact Tag Team Champions, against Rob Van Dam and Sabu. There is going to be a Monsters Ball match, which, if you're not familiar with Monsters Ball, basically, the concept is that the two guys are locked in a room for 24 hours without any light, any food, any water, any drink, just completely isolated in a dark room for 24 hours, and then let out into a no disqualification match against each other. And those two guys are going to be Sami Callihan against Jimmy Havoc in a repeat of their match at MediaCon last year. And
I'm sure
it's not going to be one. It's not going to be one for the faint-hearted because
Yeah,
It's not really
MediaCon, the kids had to leave.
yeah, it was gnarly. It was gnarly, but what else?
That sounds
Ultimate
like-
X. Ultimate X match, which is Jake Christ against Cotto Brazil against Jack Evans with more TBA. I've never heard of the last two. I've heard of Jake Christ, obviously.
Connell and I have heard of Cotto Brazil.
I've never heard of him.
Team Impact against Team Lucha Underground. We're in I don't know if this is an elimination match or just a 8-man tag standard. Brian Cage, Moose, Eddie Edwards and Johnny Impact on the Impact side of things. And Team Lucha Underground is King Cuerno, Aerostar, Daga and Drago. And then the most interesting one is the intergender match that has been announced. Eli Drake versus Tessa Blanchard.
Yeah, that's not going to happen because Eli Drake is refusing to wrestle a woman because he said he feels weird about portraying something that makes him seem like someone who beats up women. So he won't do that, and therefore the match is off.
I think that's a gimmick, though.
I'm sure the PC police will have fun coming and agreeing with Eli. It's fine. Because they went for Orton's head for daring to give Naira an RKO because Randy wanted to win the Royal Rumble. Randy
How dare Randy attack a woman who chose to enter the match?
And attacked him.
Should have just jumped over the top rope and let Nia win.
Yeah, talking
Well, yeah,
about women like that.
I think the tweet from Eli was a character one. I think the match is going to happen. I don't think they've announced it without. They wouldn't have announced it without him knowing, sort of thing. So I think the match is going to happen.
Yeah, fair enough.
He call ups.
I mean, if it's not, then fair enough. But I think it's just a heel tweet. I think
it could be a situation where he gets in the ring. He's like, "I'm not wrestling." Tessa like slaps him a bunch of times until he's like, "Okay, I'm going to hit you now."
Yeah.
Because not WCW, Defiant Wrestling have done that a few times. In their first few, like, in the Ospreay and B. Priestley versus Ricochet and Tessa match. I know that happened. And I know it happened when Drew faced Ospreay for the title.
And it happens all the time when Visage wrestles, because she's a woman. And she's always having intergender matches. Nobody knows who Visage is. Okay, I see now.
I don't watch Defiant anymore.
I've just started again. They have a wrestler that dresses like a woman and really doesn't seem like a woman, but is one.
Oh.
So I believe so. And his name is Visage. It's not like people started for AEW now. It's something else. So
could you say she's not like most girls?
She's not like most girls, but she's also not like most men. And but she's great in the ring. So
talking of not like most girls, WWE are starting a new series, a new reality series that is by all accounts going to essentially be. They're not going to call it this, obviously. But it's essentially going to be a new version of the Diva Search. And obviously, that's what everyone wants.
Just what we are all begging for.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
I don't actually remember what the Diva Search was like. So I'm just assuming in my head, Tough Enough, but swimsuit edition.
Basically.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
That's the.
But the original Diva
I
Search,
can.
it wasn't like Tough Enough because it was primarily sex appeal, and they'd
Yeah.
come out there and go have a live mic and cut a promo on other women, and it would just be everyone calling each other a slut and a whore.
See, I feel like this might just be all female Tough Enough, because they decided, because I mean they didn't just decide, but like, you know, whole women's evolution, they're gonna hire more women to fill up the ranks or whatever, and you know, and I assume,
I can reveal it now to the audience. I'm going to apply because gender equality.
and I'm going to assume that the winner gets like a dev contract.
Yeah,
$1 million
contract, Tough Enough, and then they get released
like
for the LA.
2 months later.
Yeah, the thing that I found most interesting about this is the thing I most found interesting about this is that they have an advertisement on Craigslist for it.
Oh.
Of all the places.
Oh.
It's on Chicago Craigslist. You can apply to become part of this show. All you have to do is send in 3 recent pictures of yourself. So, you know, if you want one of them.
That's about how many times you've wrestled.
Well,
It's
they
got
don't
nothing to do with
always...
wrestling.
3 recent pictures, you say.
Jordan.
Okay.
Reality TV, talking of that, Ms. and Mrs. is back this April for not a new series, but a continuation of the first.
I would choose to see more of George Mizanin.
Yes.
Yay!
More Ms. and Mrs. means more George Mizanin, and more George Mizanin is good because George Mizanin is the best man alive.
And Maurice's mother is also not bad. She's also quite cool.
Oh yeah, too funny as well. Talking to Maurice, we forgot to mention actually, in Elimination Chamber, Maurice came out and said they were expecting a second child, so that's nice. Well done. Congratulations.
Sky Monroe, that's her name. Sky Monroe.
Monroe Sky.
Sky Monroe, and the new kid will be named Sky Monroe.
Speaking of reality TV,
Oh, Shane McMahon.
Nikki Bella won some sort of reality award for being a best reality actress. Yay.
Oh, I saw that. I saw that on Twitter and decided to completely take no notice of it whatsoever.
Nah, that's lead story worthy.
Oh, of course.
It's the biggest news that happened all week.
Like, calm down, Nikki. You broke up with John Cena. You're not, like, God all of a sudden.
Are you ready for the Bellas to return to TV and get a shot at the women's tag titles?
Oh.
I can't wait. Oh my
boy.
god. Oh no.
Oh, I completely forgot they existed. I put in my WrestleMania 35 card predictions that it was going to be later in Trish Stratus, and now I've just remembered. You've just reminded me the Bella Twins exist.
It's going to be the Bellas.
I feel like
And it's going to be them.
What happened? What are Lita and Trish Stratus doing right now? Because I feel like they would have shown up by now.
Twiddling their
I know,
thumbs.
because there were reports at the time when they were about. Was it Survivor Series-ish sort of thing?
Yeah, like they'd be a huge part of the women's tag division, and they just haven't.
Yeah.
been.
They haven't appeared
And
since.
then wrestled an 8-man tag the next night and haven't been seen since.
8-woman
Yeah.
sexist.
They were probably coaches on the new Diva search.
Of course.
Yeah.
Just side remark. Am I the only person who thinks they're going to induct Paige into the Hall of Fame this year?
Yes.
The film, because of the film, and they see her as some sort of like spearhead for the women's revolution.
I would have liked to see if they induct Velvet McIntyre and her tag team partner, because they were the first original WWF
It'll be Paige.
and women's tag team champions. So I'm
If it doesn't count as the female entry, it will be Paige.
I don't think it's going to be Paige.
I do.
but I'm hoping for Velvet McIntyre. Or Bull Nakano. Bull Nakano is awesome.
Or it will be Kelly.
She's going in one day, isn't she?
Michelle McCool. You are nice.
We got Lita. Wait, is Lita?
Kelly.
Talking
Yeah, we got
about
Lita. We got Trish Stratus. We got Kelly.
Yeah, she will go in one day, 100%.
Ah, you know
talking
what?
about people with
Probably
Y in their name. J.
Oh look, White Noise has returned.
Hall of Famers, the current one. I think that is.
The White Noise is back.
Right, sorry, I went off a bit there. AEW announced that They are having a second over the budget battle royal at Double or Nothing on May 25th.
Guy is he going to win?
3 names have been announced so far. They are Sonny Kiss, Kip Sabian, and Brandon Cutler. And the more interesting AEW news is that they're currently having some trademark issues. They applied for trademarks a short while back. I've got the notes up here. Now, PW Insider are saying that basically AEW aren't able to trademark anything because they haven't done it properly. The application for All Elite Wrestling was refused because they had to put in a disclaimer saying that they weren't claiming exclusive rights to the word wrestling, which obviously they're not, but they have to put a disclaimer in to say that. And they also haven't paid for all of them yet because they applied for 13 trademarks, but they've only paid for 9, so they need to put in the additional payments, which is quite ironic, AEW not paying for something when they're the multi-billion-dollar company. AEW has also been refused, the logo has also been refused, and the slogan "Change the Universe" has also been refused for pretty much the same reasons. All Out, AEW All Out was given initial refusal because there's 2 other applications that have been put in from other companies that use the words All Out. So
Guarantee one of them is WWE.
Because it's WWE being balanced.
That's the name of the next Audi show.
Oh my god.
Oh dear. But if the other 2 All Out ones are registered, then AEW might not be able to do it themselves. So we don't know. But yeah, it's one of them. I've seen people.
I'm sure Vince won't mind if someone trademarks the word wrestling. I'm sure he won't dispute it.
Yeah.
As long as they don't take sports entertainment off him, he'll be fine.
Final bit of news now is, it's only a minor one, some ROH news. Jay Lethal will be defending the ROH World Championship on April 21st in Israel against David Starr. A lot of people weren't happy about this because obviously a lot of wrestling fans can't get to Israel. So, you know, bit of an issue for them.
It's better than holding it in Saudi Arabia.
Boo! They aren't.
It's better than holding it in Saudi
hosting
Arabia.
the show in
But
the
now
place I live.
How do they think I feel?
Yeah, exactly.
I come to America every year.
I was about to say that. Every week, twice a week.
Yeah. Like long-haired, creepy guy with his mum in the front row.
Where's Dan gone?
Oh,
okay. But yeah, it's one of them. People will... he won't drop it in Israel anyway, surely. If he does, then... whatever. It's only Ring of Honor. I think we're pretty much...
You forgot to introduce David Starr the right way.
Oh, he's got the David Starr shirt.
He's got the nickname.
He is the cream in your coffee, your favorite wrestler's favorite wrestler, the Jewish canon, the physical embodiment of charisma, the most entertaining man in professional wrestling, the Bernie Sanders of professional wrestling, the best of the best, Mr. American Rana, Davey Wrestling, the 104-minute man, the main event, he's really good at Twitter, the king of taunts, the product, David Starr.
Baron Corbin, entertaining man in wrestling, actually.
okay. So I literally just processed that his name is David Starr, and knowing everything about him, I just realized how I hate everything.
He also has a gimmick, which is he can't win the promotion's top title. He always loses the big match. Everywhere.
Samoa Joe.
Sami Zayn.
Yeah,
Nakamura.
it's on RevPro.
Oh wait, no, he won the
it's on
NXT title.
Defiant.
It's all good for Sammy.
Everywhere David
No, wait,
Starr
so did
goes.
Joe, though.
He's the ROH version of Braun Strowman.
He's not part of our age yet
I'd
because
say he's more
it's
like
Joe
appearance.
and Shinsuke Nakamura. And everyone else who's never going to win a world title. Rusev.
Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn. Johnny Gargano.
Shut up. No, Johnny has to win.
Kofi Kingston.
Baron
Poor Kofi.
Corbin.
No, Baron Corbin will win one though, so it's fine.
To be
Baron
fair,
Corbin will be Universal Champion.
We can sleep easy at night knowing we're about a month or so away from a Baron Corbin Universal title reign. That's really what.
I am the darkness, I am the thunder, I come from
At least we've
the
prepared ourselves for it. We know it's coming.
to be
There's going to be
fair,
people out there that don't realise.
Yeah. End of days, Corey. End of days. 1, 2, 3. Here's your winner and new WWE Universal Champion, Baron Corbin.
And then, woo!
Seth
Nature
drops to
Boy.
Corbin,
Trying
Corbin
out.
drops to Roman, and then Roman holds forever.
Yeah, until Brock Lesnar decides to go into a negotiation with UFC and AEW, because then Vince will panic and put the belt back on Brock.
But that won't sway Brock one way or another. It's just the cashola that
Yeah.
he cares about.
Yeah, the belt will always be put back on Brock because he will just say that he's negotiating with AEW or UFC, and then
Seth,
he will get the title back.
I really hate this as a possibility, but it is, so I'm going to throw it out there. Seth's going to beat Brock thanks to Roman's help,
Yeah.
and then they're going to do the whole thing so he didn't beat him clean. Brock's going to win the belt back and hold it until Roman's healthy, and then Roman's going to beat him for it again.
How is Brock
Yes.
going to win it back? There are no rematch clauses, sir?
Because
So,
Paul
in a
Heyman is really good at negotiating.
Oh my god. Seth's going to lose and have to face Brock in a steel cage match at the next Saudi Arabia show, and it's this whole cycle over again.
You will never get out of this. It's,
Yeah, but he should drive back to Brock, and then he's going to hold it until Roman's healthy, and then
Oh
Roman's
wait,
going to beat him
no.
again.
Brock only has to wrestle the one match and he can leave.
but he won't. Because Vince is giving him more money and more money and more money. He will be the first wrestler to ever earn $100 million in a year just wrestling one match.
He legit has a chance of being UFC champion and Universal champion, and that's hilarious. I kind of want
And
that, actually.
AEW World Champion. That's his name.
You know what? If that happens, I'm okay with Brock beating Seth. If he holds the AEW and the UFC championships.
That is. I honestly believe that is Vince McMahon's biggest fear, that Brock will hold UFC and AEW gold at the same time.
Of how they also
That will
rule
give him
it
a
out.
heart attack.
If you remember, well, none of us remember because none of us were born, but we'll go back to WrestleMania 9 when the small
remember that.
wrestler was beaten by the big man, and then Vince's favourite came out at the end and challenged. So Lesnar's going to beat Seth, like Yoko did Brett.
Randomly.
It's going to be the Hogan, and they're going to challenge Roman to an impromptu map. Roman's going to spear him and win the belt.
Great times.
I don't
And then
approve.
it's going to get a Roman Reigns Baron Corbin Backlash main event.
Oh my god.
Just what we want.
And then,
Um,
maybe
I'm
at
gagged.
Summer...
So, Liam, did any news broke while we were talking, like last week?
I am just looking now. WWE Network are running a mega marathon to celebrate its 5th birthday.
That's also
On-
the WWE Network.
That's not.
Tomorrow. It's 9 a.m. ET tomorrow.
Hey, it has the
It's,
same birthday as Ric Flair.
No, Ric Flair is Ric Flair's birthday is on Monday, and WWE Network birthday is on Sunday.
Ric Flair was a sprightly young 65-year-old when the network launched.
Oh dear. I'm trying to work out what shows they're going to be showing, but it doesn't say.
So,
I'm not sure.
which legends do you think are going to be there on Monday to celebrate?
None. Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan.
Yes.
This is where
JJ
they set
Dillon.
up the match between Batista and Triple H.
It is.
Possibly. If Batista has signed, yeah.
All of Evolution's gonna come down. Randy's gonna be like, "Yeah, I'm on Raw. Deal with
It's
it."
either that,
David Flair's going to be there.
it's either that or Becky beats up Rick and gets back in the match. I don't know why you're laughing, like, genuinely.
Earl.
I think that's going to happen. I think Becky will do something. Surely she has to turn up and be there.
You can't keep her off Raw because people will go mad.
You know how lately
Yeah.
we've been like, "Oh yeah, WWE's seen the error of their ways. Becky's a babyface. What if she interrupts Roman?" Oh my god!
Yeah, beats him down. with
And then
grudge.
the WrestleMania match is Becky versus Roman, and then Roman beats Becky.
in a man versus the guy versus the man.
The big dog versus the man.
The big dog versus Becky Balboa.
Other than that, apart from NXT UK spoilers, of which there are some big ones, but I'm not going to tell them. I'm not going to say them now.
No, don't you dare.
Pete Dunne's facing
Nothing.
Conan O'Brien.
Connor O'Brien.
No,
Conan
Conan
O'Brien.
O'Brien.
Conan O'Brien being late night host.
It's a UK title match.
Walter wins all the titles and
No, it's
retires NXT UK.
John versus Gary Barlow.
Gary Barlow. Oh god.
The actual Queen Elizabeth is booked in a match against Tony Storm.
It's Pete Dunne versus Bryan. The best British indie wrestler out there right now.
They're going to
Pac versus Pentagon Jr. has been announced for TNT Extreme Wrestling show on April 18th.
That's a match I want to watch.
Much like Pac versus Will Ospreay, but I've heard that entire show was not as great as promised.
Also, there was also a screwy finish with Pac versus Ospreay. Because that's what happens when you have two guys that can't lose a match.
Yeah.
I want to point out. So Tyler made a sarcastic comment there that he only works main event and not Raw, but he's always on main event. And Ringside News reported it as actual news.
Have we talked about the fact that Vince McMahon is furious about Taker being a Starcast and actually wants to bring him back for WrestleMania match?
He did that last week.
I remember that now. Yes, we did.
Yeah, I don't think there is. One thing we did miss is, but we're not going to go through it again because it is a bit spoilers. There's been a couple of names leaked for the Hall of Fame. WrestleVotes reported that on Twitter. If you fancy going and have a look at that. But other than that, I don't actually think there's anything else we need to go through. So unless anyone has any final things they want to say, I think we can finish up.
Well, there's one thing. It's always sunny in California.
California sun.
There's nothing like California sun, yes.
From the break off for the day is done.
Yes.
Also, there will be a contract signing on SmackDown for the WWE Championship match. And Kingston. So shenanigans are going to go down
SOS, you hear them shouting.
Versus Cesaro.
I really hope that Kofi Kingston can use his SOS theme at Fastlane.
Oh, yeah.
That would be great.
He won't though. He'll be.
It will be. It's a new day.
I
Yes,
think-
it is to them.
I think he should have done it at the Chamber, so I don't think they're going to do it now. We went through it
But
before. We touched,
if they have a match at WrestleMania, maybe they'll do it then.
He won't be in time at WrestleMania.
I
He'll be in
know.
the US ladder match.
It would
But
It will be
believe,
Roman Reigns versus Charlotte Flair for the WWE Championship.
Dream.
We went through it a bit before, just a reminder. Aleister Black and Ricochet versus Shinsuke Nakamura and Rusev on SmackDown this week, as well as Johnny Gargano versus Cesaro.
Yum.
Yum. Gargano versus Cesaro. It's good.
Sounds great, but probably won't be.
God, Stan's gonna have a butt. But there's not enough Ric Flair. Basically.
There's no Ric Flair.
Ooh.
It looks great, but his life peaks on Monday, so...
You know, I think that tag match, it sounds like it'd be a bit meh, but I'm hoping it becomes a 7-star match, greatest match of all time.
I mean, you're saying it looks meh. Have you seen who's involved?
Yeah, but Rusev. And Nakamura as a
Rusev?
team.
Yeah, what about Rusev and Nakamura as a team?
I just don't care for it.
What about Aleister Black and Ricochet as a team?
I also don't care for that.
Did you care about the bar?
I hate when people say
Did
this,
you care
but
about the bar when you first... Wait, scrap that. Did you break up the bar?
Yes. Dead joke. Anyway, what was I gonna say?
You're ridiculous.
What was I gonna say?
Goodbye.
I can't remember now. Thanks, Connel.
Let's all state our favourite TJP matches before we leave.
His last one.
He's had matches?
Well, the Cruiserweight Finals against Grand Metalik, that was great, because Grand Metalik was there.
TJP is Zack Sabre Jr. Cruiserweight Classic.
Who went over TJP on 205 Live this week? I remember he wrestled. I can't remember who beat him.
Wasn't it Cedric Alexander?
It was Carrillo.
Oh, it was Carrillo.
Who was TJP's first defense against?
Wasn't it
Henrik.
Brian Kennery? Brian Kennery? And and then he lost it immediately.
I like that. I like that one, I guess.
He lost the title.
Yes, straight away, because he was...
Hendrick.
Yes.
It doesn't matter, though, because Enzo Amore was the best Cruiserweight champion of all time.
What's everyone's favourite Ty Dillinger match? Mine
He
is...
had a couple of triple threats.
Actually, mine is either that triple threat with Corbin and AJ, or Ty Dillinger versus Bobby Roode from Toronto.
Yeah, Ty Dillinger versus Bobby Roode. That was great.
There was Corbin. There was the one with Corbin and... There was the one with Corbin and AJ, the triple threat, and there was another one that he had that was good as well. I can't remember. I think AJ was in that one as well.
Yeah.
You're thinking
AJ.
I liked his one-on-one with... Did he have a one-on-one
Was
with
it Ziggler?
AJ? No.
He did at some point.
But I'm thinking
Ziggler.
of the one with Gable.
I can't
You're
remember.
thinking of Liam is Ziggler, Roode and Corbin.
No, it's not. Dillinger... He definitely had 2 triple threats that were good. I'm going to have a look.
Well, Hideo Itami, greatest match in WWE.
Huh.
Yeah.
Maybe I've just made that up. The triple threat thing. I can't find the other one now. Oh well.
The best Hideo Itami match is Hideo Itami and Finn Balor versus The Ascension.
I can't think of anything else.
Because Victor is in it, obviously.
Yeah. And Byron Sexton was the ring announcer.
He probably actually was. I trust that. Like that.
I'll have one last check of any news. Doesn't look like there is any. So I think we can wrap things up. If you've watched until the end, you are a madman.
Yes.
But thank you.
Yeah.
Remember